She's a prominent speaker, a member of the United Nations, and also recognized as LinkedIn's top voice. So Radhika, welcome on the show. How you actually are this confident?
My parents gave me that freedom to speak ever since childhood. In college, I was a part of a media startup and they told me that you have a different way of speaking. Why don't you start anchoring some of our shows? So actually, the communication skills started to brush up from there on. And I come from a very small town called Pachora. And I've studied there till my 10th standard. It was like a village, extremely conservative and orthodox.
Tell me, how difficult was it? A journey from the village to Bombay and to rooms in Bombay, it must be a big one.
I studied in a municipal school. Whenever I used to speak in English in my school in Pachora, people would be like, why are you showing off? Just don't speak in English. So I was discouraged by my peers that do not speak in English. Even my teachers, they would not know English. They would speak in Hindi.
Hi guys, this is Priyam and welcome back to the Priyam Show. Our today's guest is younger than most of you watching. She's a prominent speaker, a member of the United Nations, and also recognized as LinkedIn's top voice. So Radhika, welcome on the show. So Radhika, so happy to have you on the show. It was a long chase to bring you here, but we are finally here and it's 2026 and this is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, the new year is off to a good start indeed.
Very good
because
start.
we are chatting and I'm so happy to see your work as well. I think we are almost of the same age.
Glad.
So very much looking forward to our conversation.
So Radhika, firstly, let me bring you to why you are actually here on the show and as a guest. This season, we are trying to focus on women that have created a difference in society, a difference in culture, a difference work-wise, just women that have stood out from the crowd. And of course, you're one of them. You're a eminent and a prominent speaker. I have seen a lot of your posts and a lot of your speaking sessions, even on YouTube. Just tell me a little bit about how you actually are this confident. This is my first question to you. You're 26 years old. You started working since you were 20. Where do you bring this confidence from? Let's start there.
I think it all came because my parents gave me that freedom to speak ever since childhood. And I think childhood has a lot of role to play in how you are shaped as an adult.
Absolutely.
So many times I see my cousins, their parents are like, why are you going here? You have to be back by this time. Who are you going with? Tell us everything. And in that pressure, the children are bogged down,
This is even my parents, just by the way, till today.
Yeah, and I've always been like a rebel person in my life, and thanks to my parents that they've given me that freedom to be the way I was always. And I come from a very small town called Pachora. Not many know about it or have heard, but it's in Maharashtra.
Oh.
And I've studied there till my 10th standard. It was like a village, extremely conservative and orthodox. I was very shy, timid, didn't even know how to speak to people or even communicate my thoughts or feelings.
Yeah.
But when the chance to get out of that village came upon me, I went up to my parents and told them that I can't stay here. Like, my career cannot be here.
You
I
wanted to
cannot
fly.
marry a person here and settle in a village. I need to do something more for myself. And that's when I understood what speaking up really means and what voicing your opinion means.
Yeah.
And because my parents gave me that chance to speak and hear whatever I wanted, it allowed me to speak more and more.
Yeah.
So I think that first instance of confidence came from there. And after that, in college, I was a part of a media startup, which was, started by my friends. And they told me that you have a different way of speaking. Why don't you start anchoring some of our shows and take interviews of people? So actually, the communication skills started to, brush up from there on.
Got it.
And I feel like the confidence only comes with success, no matter what.
Yeah,
Even if
yeah.
you're confident, but if you don't have a conviction or a purpose that you're serving for in the society, you
Yeah.
cannot really speak up.
That's
so
true.
when I got that title of a LinkedIn top voice, a lot of people approached me for interviews and I didn't know what to say because I'd never done this. But because I kept doing it more and more, it raised up my confidence bar, and that's
Of
how
course.
it happened. So I feel more than just yourself, it's also the world that gives you opportunities to
Yeah.
present yourself in a confident way, and that adds to your confidence. So I think it's a sum total of every experience in my life that has led me to here.
Got it, got it. So if you had to summarize this, I feel like age and experience is bringing a lot of that and contributing to society and working, obviously, and success while working is contributing to a lot of your confidence. Could we say that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I was not even 1% successful, I would not have the confidence to speak, because I've had many opportunities.
How honest. I would like to say that. How
I've had-
humble and honest.
I've had rooms to speak to in so many places. People have told me speak, but I was like, what do I speak about? I have nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fair.
I feel like unless you are having that self-awareness of how much you know,
yeah.
I really cannot speak without it.
So I want to know a little bit about coming from a small town. So you said that you come from a village called Pachora. Tell me a little bit about how was it growing up there, and how did you shape yourself up? Because from our idea or from a layman's idea, when you grow up in a village, you're kind of limited out of a lot of resources, right? Just lack of opportunities, lack of everything that's there because of it being a village. Tell me, how difficult was it, a journey from the village to Bombay and to rooms in Bombay? It must be a big one.
Yeah. I mean, one big thing that I can remember from that switch from village to Bombay is the language.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to speak in English. Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How old were you when this was the case? When you
I
came
moved
here
back to Bombay when I was 17.
and you couldn't speak English
Yeah,
at
I
17?
really didn't know. And everybody in Bombay speaks so much with fluency
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have so much of vocabulary in their words. I was like,
Yeah.
कैसे बात करूँ मैं, मेरे को तो नहीं आएगा.
Oh
And I
my
told
God.
my parents also, I don't know how will I survive here. And I was the only person. My family was back in the town. So surviving was very difficult. But and you know what? My mother used to literally sit with me with Red and Martin books of grammar to teach me English when
my
I was in
God.
5th and 6th grade. Because whenever I used to speak in English in my school in Pachora, people would be like, why are you showing off? Just don't
Oh.
speak in English. So I was discouraged by my peers that do not speak in English. Even my teachers, they would not know English. They would speak in Hindi. So like I come from that background. I studied in a municipal school. It was known as Burhani English Medium School. I still remember. And I used to go cycling in that village to that school.
Wow,
So it was like from that kind of background. Coming here was a big cultural shock.
Of
Although I
course,
used
of
to come
course.
to Bombay because my
And at
mother
such a
is
young
from
age.
here. Yeah.
I can't imagine you having those kind of thoughts at 17 that I'll not be able to survive here. I'm kind of alien to the language, because I'm sure that I've had some people that have moved cities and have come from smaller towns. They do face this.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Like when they hear people speak in metropolitan cities, they do get a little you get a little reserved. Like you'll not be able to fairly speak in front of them, so you can rather not speak.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what happened with me. Like, if you meet my college friends today, they'll be like, she was very shy person. And I literally had no friends in college because everybody would think, pehle to isko English aati nahi hai. Secondly, they would be like, she wants to be a part of every college committee club and she doesn't have time to give us for, parties and hanging out moments. I was like, because I was very different kid, I wanted to explore everything in the city to know what's meant for me and what's not. So I couldn't just spend time with friends hanging out. I was like, that's not what I've come to Bombay for. I was very clear in my head ever since then. So I was left alone and I literally used to come to classes alone, sit alone in my college classrooms. For lunch, there would be nobody to accompany me.
Oh my
But I
God.
think that isolation has been a blessing in disguise now for me, because I've had this kind of depth and understanding of the world at a very young age. So
They say who don't speak much, they observe a lot.
yeah.
And that also applies for me though, but for another podcast. So coming to Bombay, and then you were trying to obviously find your foot, right? You were trying to see what you could do. You were trying to see how things would fairly go for you in this city. Would you be staying? Would you not be? I think you'll have like 100 things going on in your head. How what was the next step? What did Radhika, as like a 17-year-old, 18-year-old from Pachora coming to Bombay, what was in her mind? What was she here for? What was she gonna do?
Yeah.
She knew that she had to stay. She knew she was not leaving the city anytime and going back.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she had some plans. Let's discuss that.
Yeah, sure. Like, you know, I used to come to Bombay once a year because my nanny stays in Bombay, and I used to look at my cousins and always feel underprivileged. I was like, why cannot I speak like them, live a life
Yeah.
like them? What's stopping me?
Yeah.
You know, I was a little materialistic also back then. I would be like, why do they have an iPhone and I don't? I didn't have a phone until my first year of graduation.
Let's not call that materialistic. let's just call that like peer pressure or like iPhone fear. You know, everybody needs to have an iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Then I would always have that judgment, you know, in my mind कि मेरे पास क्यों नहीं है
Why
जो
not
city
me?
लोग के पास है, you know.
Yeah.
So then I was like, क्या करें? And I always had the courage. I mean, if I can come to Bombay, I can go anywhere. So I used to just randomly walk in the offices of corporates, you know, without getting an appointment and say that I'm here for an internship. Just give me a chance. I'm good at writing. You know, I'll give you a sample and you see how it goes. So I've done that a lot in college, but nobody really gave me any attention.
Why? If you would come to our office, I would definitely sit and speak with you.
I wish we met earlier.
No, definitely. I appreciate somebody, you know, walking up and asking for something that they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe I was not knocking at the right doors. I was
Maybe.
going at corporates where the hierarchy was so much.
Oh,
yeah,
probably. I
Actually,
get it.
startups appreciate this kind of culture. But I
Yeah.
didn't know what a startup was at
There
that
wasn't
time.
one that time. It came just like a couple of years ago.
Exactly. मुझे तो कुछ समझता ही नहीं था. मैंने ऐसे ही चल के ही रास्ता figure out किया है. I didn't know anything. But that's when I started writing on LinkedIn, because I joined the entrepreneurship cell of my college, which has been the biggest gift of Bombay to me. And there I met so many ambitious people who wanted to help each other out. And there was this one guy who told me to start writing on LinkedIn, and he told me you will see benefits sooner than you realize. And I didn't take it seriously back then. Like, it took me 6 months of self-conviction to understand, okay, LinkedIn can be a good place to be in.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't even have an Instagram, Facebook account. So not like I was active on Instagram and didn't want to be on LinkedIn.
Got it.
So I put my first DP, I still remember, on LinkedIn, which usually people put on Instagram. It was like a Diwali picture with a diya.
Wrong
It
place.
was very funny.
Got it.
Then later I realized what's LinkedIn meant for. Then I started writing on, you know, news topics. Every day I would sit in the library, read newspapers. And then when I started to write, people started to think that, okay, I'm a serious kid. They should consider me for work. So I did many internships while I was in my college, which really opened up realms for me. I've done like stupid things, like I've even done... I've been a part of the creative department of my college for a college fest where we would literally like broom the floors and all because I didn't have a skill to be a part of either the marketing committee or the finance committee. I was creative, so I was in the arts committee, and they would just make us wash the brushes and just like sweep the floor. I was like, what is this? I need to do something in my life to change. And I think my friend, I really want to thank him for bringing me on to LinkedIn and then putting my mind in the right place, that okay, you should start writing.
Everybody needs those kind of friends.
Yeah. I think if I didn't have that peer support, I wouldn't be here also. So I think the credit is due to all of them. I've not
Yeah.
done anything by myself.
I think you figured LinkedIn out sooner than most people.
Yeah.
I guess. And having been through your LinkedIn, yes, I can say that you do write very well. I don't know if it's a God gift or it's a talent that you have kind of accumulated over the years, observing and just doing things on your own. But it's commendable work for sure. Coming to the most infamous LinkedIn top voice, tell me, how did that happen? Because it seems like impossible, right? I don't think that, like, I mean, a 20, how old were you? 22, 23?
21, yeah.
21-year-old to get LinkedIn top voice,
Yeah.
where you know you couldn't speak in English a couple of years ago, and you're just like fighting for life in Bombay. Tell me,
Right.
how did that happen? Because it's a very rare opportunity or a very rare moment of your life, right? That's something that shaped you and your career a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's one of the most impactful things that's happened to you. Tell me, how did you feel? Tell me how that happened, first of all.
Yeah.
Anybody who's listening and you want to be LinkedIn top voice, you know who to watch out.
Abhi, so, you know, they give the badges like they're selling some vegetables.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very
Instagram's
democratized.
verification now.
Yeah. It just become like that.
Yeah.
तभी होता था कि अरे मिला है तो बहुत खास है.
Got
अभी
it.
तो I think every Tom, Dick and Harry is getting it. So
okay.
अभी because the team also has changed now, the LinkedIn
Yeah.
India team. So that's there. But I basically wrote on LinkedIn just to get a few money, because I felt like if I write on LinkedIn, people will see my content and give me content writing projects. So like महीने का 5,000 भी बहुत होता था तभी. I would be like, at least I will be able to afford a 5-star brunch for myself.
It's gone in life.
I know it's gone in
Yeah.
seconds, but
Having had that now, 5,000 is nothing at a 5-star brunch.
Exactly. But I always love to treat myself and be by myself. I never craved for like a larger group of people, to do anything. Today also, like I watch movies alone, go for dinners alone, and it really helps me introspect within myself rather than just get distracted by the outer world.
Right,
So I
right.
think that kind of attitude, because I had back then as well, that helped me really keep writing on LinkedIn consistently. And I started in 2018 when I was 18, and by 2021 during the lockdown, actually it picked up a lot because I would write about stories like Nirma, for example. Do you know like why Nirma was started and how was it started?
I have heard on Instagram, but I can't much recollect. But yeah, I guess there is a story
Yeah.
attached to it.
It's
so
a
you would
very
write on case
emotional
studies?
story. Yeah, I used to write on these products that we use in our daily lives, but are so unaware of the history of it. So I wrote on that, and because people were anyways in their houses, they read it. And everybody would be like, wow, we didn't know that this is what it is.
Tell me
And,
the
like,
Nirma
story is very interesting.
Tell
so
me.
you see that girl on the packet of Nirma.
Yeah.
So that girl is actually a daughter of someone who is the founder of Nirma University also in Ahmedabad.
Okay.
So the father had lost his daughter at a very young age, I
Okay.
think before 20 only.
Okay.
And he's like, I have to do something and build something in the world that will remember my daughter forever. I don't want her legacy to be forgotten because she was dear to me. And because he was a businessman, he could afford to do that. So that's how he started Nirma, in fond remembrance of his daughter.
daughter? Oh
And
my
that's
God.
why the girl that you see is a symbol of his daughter on the packet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was quite an emotional story, and that was also one of my most well-performing posts on LinkedIn, which went viral. In just about 24 hours, it got some 21,000 likes and many, many shares and comments.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
Just looking back, like I can just think if if my feed had a post of somebody who's talking about like case studies or like just like stories like this, why not? I feel like it's a fun
Yeah.
element to add, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
those kind of things happened, and the managing editor of LinkedIn wrote to me once. And I would always connect with people who are in the powerful spaces and the space of decision making. So I'd already connected with this managing editor long time back, and I used to tell him that I'm a creator, give me feedback, this is what I write. So of course he had me in mind when the list was going to come out, and I made sure that I'm visibly seen in the right places. So then when the list was coming out, he told me that I think you will be the right fit for this, nominate yourself. And I was like, okay, I don't think so I'll be selected, but let's take
Let's
a
do
chance anyways. So then I applied, and 2 months later, I still remember the date, it was 19th of January when the email came that, congratulations, you selected as one of the top voices on LinkedIn. And I really couldn't believe. I wrote to the managing editor again and asked that, what made you select me? I'm just curious to know, because I was the youngest on the list. I was 21. And everybody was almost above 27, 28. And they were CEOs, founders of startups and whatnot. I was just a college kid. And he said, just your consistency with which you wrote every day and the simplicity with which you put content without making it too complicated,
Yeah.
we had to put you there because it serves as an example for younger people also
Yeah.
who want to start but are very afraid to start. They
Yeah.
don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So that's why we put you on the list. And then after that day, though, it was a big responsibility on my shoulders. I was like, oh shit, now that many people will watch me even more on the platform, I have more duty to make good quality content. So till date, I write almost like every week. It's consistent because I feel like reaching a success point is easy, but maintaining it for years and years, it's very hard. So
Yeah.
I'm just hoping I maintain it.
After listening to your entire story, you know what came to my head? That this is the only place you'll find a LinkedIn influencer. That's something that came to my head because you literally are one.
I don't know.
You literally are one. You are a LinkedIn influencer. You accept it or not, it's a fact. You have a great following. You're recognized on LinkedIn, and I just checked your LinkedIn some time ago, and like we had like some hundreds of matches. We have
Yeah.
like, yeah. So we are connected with a lot of common people even there. So yeah, of course, appreciate what you've done, but it's so true that consistency is the only thing that brings you to places, right? And a young girl sitting in a room and just writing things on LinkedIn brings her a tag of LinkedIn's top voice. That's amazing, and that's something that you worked really hard for unknowingly. I don't think you
yeah,
would,
yeah, I didn't expect. I feel like a lot of people would have been at this place where I am, and some people still are. But the only thing between people who reach there and who don't is the fact that people get bored in the journey.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't appreciate boredom.
yeah.
That's the only reason why they fail. It's not about talent or hard work. वो तो सब लोग ही करते हैं. It's about everybody is excited in the beginning to do things, but how many people are consistent with the boredom that comes along with it and have the never give up attitude?
Tell me about it.
That's
It's
the
been
only
8
thing.
years, 365 days, same office,
Yeah.
everything same. No breaks. I mean, there are breaks, but you can't cry. I can't complain. Even I'm not in a position
Yeah.
to complain. So, but yeah, I think boring is good. Is good for the long run.
Yeah. It's very good. You should be under pressure always to create something. Otherwise, it can't be.
It's
like,
called the popcorn effect, you know, how a popcorn
Really?
kind of bursts in like
Ah.
pressure. So it's called
Yeah.
the popcorn effect. As much as you can take pressure and then suddenly something blossoms, that's a popcorn.
yeah,
nice
even
and
like
crunchy.
paneer is made out of a pressure that's put on the milk. So and even diamonds are made of the pressure
So
that coal mines
I think we're
have.
trying to sum up that all good things are made in pressure
Yeah.
and developed in pressure, right? Okay, so another topic that, again, another name or another entity that has been associated with you is the United Nations. Again, too small of a age, too big of a community. Tell me, how did you get there?
Yeah.
How are you in rooms that are not open for people this young?
Yeah, actually, that was the reason why United Nations came up with this fellowship. Exactly what you said, that everybody discussing about issues are all old senior people, white hair,
Yeah.
guys and girls. So, I mean, not trying to depreciate the value of old people.
No, that's okay, but they got like 20 years to live. It's fine. We have 50, right? So our opinions matter a lot more, I believe.
Yeah. I mean,
believe
exactly.
it.
So that's what they finally realized, that the youth, nobody is listening to them.
Yeah.
In fact, they're brimming with so many ideas. If we listen
Yeah.
to them, they are going to be the future. They're going to lead the path for the other generations to come.
Yeah.
So why not consider their opinions?
Yeah.
So the United Nations Foundation collaborated with the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, which is an institution based out of Delhi.
Okay.
They do policy advocacy on climate and other sustainable development goals.
Got it.
So they came together to launch this fellowship for the very first time in India, and they chose 11 young Indians, all below the age of 35, to represent different kind of goals like poverty, urban city development, ocean, all the garbage and all that comes in ocean. How do we clear that? Gender equality, future of workforce. So there were many brackets, and my friend, her name is Prachi Shivgakar. She's a very inspirational lady, also awarded by Nirmala Sitharaman. She's my age, by the way.
Oh, really?
I'll recommend you to interview her someday. So she is leading the India Fellowship. And then because she's been seeing my work also, she recommended me that fellowship, that you should be a part of it. And it came through very luckily. I don't think so I worked any hard for it, I have to be honest about it. It was all like full. Everybody had their own goals to work at. And then they introduced this new goal of future of workforce. And then they found me to be a part of it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be even a part of it. It came very last minute to me. So that's
I mean, the
how-
opportunity presented itself, I guess.
Yeah, very much so.
But you were
And-
there at the right place.
No,
Do you
I feel
realize
like
that?
I connect with all people from all industries without even having an agenda in my mind. Sometimes people tell me, why are you wasting your time meeting this person? What are you getting out of it? आजकल हम लोग का माइंडसेट यही हो गया है, सब ट्रांजैक्शनल चाहिए कि कुछ मिलेगा नहीं तो क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करना है. बट आई नेवर हैड दिस. सो प्राची ऑल्सो आई मेट बिकॉज आई just saw her on one of my friend's stories. I was like, this girl is doing some great work. Let me just reach out to her. I don't have anything to offer to her. And I don't know what will I even get. But I will just sit and hear her story. That's how I met her, through some random Instagram DM that I did.
Oh,
And we've been
wow.
connected for 2-3 years now on Instagram. Not even met and spoken much before. Then she only gave this opportunity to me. And imagine, had I not messaged her, this United Nations things
Wouldn't have come
wouldn't even happen. So I always believe in embracing randomness and spontaneity, you know, because that really brings you. You
Yeah.
have to increase your surface area of luck.
Yeah.
Because everything in this life is also, of course, about strategy, but also luck. It really plays a big role, and I believe in that. I think my life instances have always been a combination of both, but more so luck, I would say.
I haven't heard a 26-year-old speak that well. First of all, let me put that out. I haven't heard, period. Like, I haven't heard a 26-year-old speak well. Just in the middle of the interview, appreciating you. This is rare. Do what you're doing because you're good at it. Do what you're doing. If like, I also have my business and I do this now too.
Huh.
But I don't think if I was just doing this,
Yeah.
I would be as good as you. Like, I feel like I'm getting a little complex, you can
I
say.
didn't know, not at all.
No, you're fab. You're fab. This is just like out of the heart. Like, a 26-year-old speaking with so much clarity is rare, first of all, where, you know, people who are of this age are fighting and looking at different things. You're completely in another direction, to be honest. So, I mean, kudos to
Yeah.
you. It's a big one. You're
I've
playing a
stopped
big game.
drinking also. Can you believe it? Just because of all of this. I
Yep.
used to drink so much being in college. Now I don't even feel like having. If somebody gives me, I'll take like 5 hours to finish one drink. That's like me
Is it
now.
a personal choice or?
It's just that I don't enjoy it. I'm like, kya karu main pee ke? I'm just high on life now. I don't need
Oh.
any other things to get me high. I just feel like that now.
Because you're internally, I guess, pretty happy and pretty content. Is that?
No, I'm just very driven towards bigger things. I'm not content. If I was content, I don't think so I would be doing anything else. I would just be sitting at home and chilling somewhere on the beach. But I'm just thinking कि अभी अगर if all of this can happen randomly, imagine what else can
When
happen
you
in
actually put
life.
in the effort.
So I'm just like very excited about the future.
Okay, let's say if there was an ultimate goal that, you know, this and this is done by Radhika, where does Radhika want to reach? Where is the end goal? What do you want to
Yeah.
become? Where do you want to reach? Where are you going?
So, you know, I've always admired Oprah Winfrey while growing up. And I remember writing about her story when I was 19 on my LinkedIn. That also blew up, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. She has some, of course, her story is even more powerful and impactful. But I saw a lot of correlations from her story in mine. She came from a very, slum kind of an
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So many kind of domestic violence and abuses she's faced, but still she grew up within an environment, made her own voice, became a part of channels where she was recognized, then opened her own media company. It was crazy, like the kind of
Yeah.
growth she's had. And I feel like if you want to do something, you rather be the best in it. Why to be a part of it?
Yeah.
Rather be like someone where the industry talks about you. Like, for example, if you talk today about the best podcaster, everybody thinks of Joe Rogan, you know? So, like, and there are so many podcasters in
There's
this
so
world.
many.
I'm like, अगर ये करना ही है तो ऐसा करो कि लोग तुमको नाम से जाने वो industry में, you know? You don't have to introduce yourself.
Love the aspiration.
So, it's just that whatever I do, I have to be like the best in it, you know? Now, that can be anything. I'm still figuring out what that is for
So
me.
the drive is to be the best.
Yeah.
In
अभी-
whatever.
बाकी तो फिगर आउट कर लेंगे जो करना है. अभी जो मैं कर रही हूँ वो ही बेस्ट करूँगी. बाद में देखते हैं क्या करना है.
So tell me, after the United Nations thing happened, we then moved to the entire lockdown phase. That
Yeah.
was very, very depressing for most of us.
हाँ.
A lot of loved ones lost, a lot of money gone, markets down, offices shut, schools shut, college shut, everybody at home packed in that, you know, 1 BHK, 2 BHK.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was life then? How did you survive that?
Yeah. I think that also was a very, very low phase of my life. I would say the lowest. Because I had to go back from Bombay to Pachora. And that village had nothing to offer. At least in Bombay, people were having house parties and, you know, meeting each other. But my friends and all, nobody was there in the city. You know, so I was like, what am I doing here? And it was like 1 year almost. I was at the
More
peak.
than a year.
Yeah, I was at the peak of my career, and I was almost about to get a job in Sun TV. Yeah, as like somebody who does their media marketing and sales. That also got cancelled because of the lockdown. Then I was like, shit, ऐसे कैसे? I'll just write on LinkedIn now or what? अभी ये कुछ बचा ही नहीं
Back
है.
to basics.
Yeah. So then I was like, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. So then I started writing more and more and more on LinkedIn. I think because of that, it really, really helped me out because I had nothing else but LinkedIn as the source. I would like how people doom scroll on Instagram today. I
Yeah.
would do that on LinkedIn. And that gave me so much of knowledge that I don't think so even MBA could give me. It gave me so many connections, so many new, people to meet with, interact with. So I immersed myself into that completely. And during lockdown, a law firm approached me saying that, you write good content. Would you like to be a part of us? I was like, I've not even done finance. I've done marketing. How will I become a part of a law firm and contribute? They're saying, don't worry, we'll guide you, we'll shape you how to do things. So, and I'm very, very grateful to that law firm because there's a story that will come ahead on basis of what they did to me. So,
Did you join it? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I did.
you
I
did?
did. Yeah, I very much did. But on the very first day, they told me to write a research paper on privatization of stations. And I was like, what is this? मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कुछ मेरे से नहीं होगा. And I used to just push timelines ki I am giving this, that. And the managing partner understood that I'm just not being able to do it.
I wish there was ChatGPT back then.
है ना? Yeah.
You would have excelled.
I know, but I was like, ये सब नहीं पसंद है मुझे. Then, and he was so kind enough, he didn't let me go. Otherwise, other bosses are like, हाँ नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है, okay, you're fired, खत्म. But he was like, okay, what else do you like? Because I see that if you can write on LinkedIn, you can do something at least in life, if not everything. I said I love philosophy, life generally. I like to know about that. Then he said, okay, let me make you design the value system of the law firm. So I studied what 360-degree feedback is in an organization, what it means. Then I studied what reverse mentoring is. All of these management philosophies I studied in his guidance and mentorship. And I ended up hiring lawyers being a non-lawyer. I used to interview people who are 10 years senior to me. And I would obviously keep my camera shut because looking at me, they would really not take me seriously. But when they got hired and came to the law firm and saw me, they were like, were you that person behind that camera? Because you were asking questions as if you're some senior attorney or something. Because I would just Google whatever is written on their CV and ask them with confidence the questions. So they would be like, oh my God, who's this person on the side? So I really learned what people skills are, how to spot talent, and everything about, human. What being a human is, how humans are developed in life, what do they think, what do they not. And
Tell
I
us your
hired
top
the best
3-4
people.
findings. Tell us the top 3-4 findings of your whatever you discovered learning this, and I love philosophies, and if you have something you would love to share.
Like in philosophy, what did I learn?
Just anything. I mean, when you learned, when you were trying to work on the value system thing, and you must have learned a lot about how humans think and how they function. Is there any particular finding of yours that you feel like you found out and it's true?
I've never done research by myself. I've always been taught because I never like to do primary research. I always like to listen and observe. So I've learned this through my mentor, and I'll share that. There is this theory called Macedonian phalanx theory, and it's based on Alexander, how he designed his own army and fought a battle of some 40,000 army, and they were just some 400 people in his army. Still, he won the battle. And he said it only could happen because people were standing right shoulder to shoulder next to each other, and they all had swords in their hand, and they all rushed towards the other opponent with the same gazelle intensity. And because everybody functioned as a unit and everybody was moving at the same pace, they could defeat the army of 40,000 being just a few number, and that kind of management philosophy really stuck in my mind, because I was like, it's not about the size of your team or what your head count is in the team. It's always about brain count and what kind of sense of belonging each one in the team has to your vision and to your goal. I mean, even if you have 10,000 people but everybody is looking out just for themselves, they're not going to win. But if you just have 10 people and everybody has that same kind of heart pouring into what they're doing, I think you will definitely win in life and in whatever you're doing. So
I second that. I
you should
believe that.
definitely read that theory. It's something that applies across walks of life.
I second that, but just hearing that makes me think that is true too.
Yeah.
I would definitely believe that, because again, not trying to be too philosophical about this, but you know, they say like fingers together a wrist is much stronger.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like that. And
Exactly.
I'm a boxer, so
Oh, lovely.
so it's
You will
my
know it.
personal reference. Yeah. So in our primary findings about you, we also found that you have dealt with depression. Now, not a very good topic for the new year to begin with, but we would like to know anyway. So tell me how, again, depression being the most common word used by, I feel like people under 30 use it way more, like they're depressed every second
Yeah.
day. And but probably things are bad, right? Things are probably bad than ever because of the whole digital scene that's coming up. But would love to know how a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, how do they deal with depression, and how should they deal with depression, if you have an understanding, or
Yeah.
with whatever you've dealt.
Yeah, like I was not like clinically diagnosed because I didn't even have the courage to go and ask someone if I'm really depressed. But I used to feel that, and it didn't happen because one day was low, 2 day was low. I was feeling that for entire 6 months. And I was like, what is this? There's of course something wrong. And I used to cry for nothing. Then I saw on internet ki kya hota hai, ye sab kyun hota hai. Then I understood it's always because your mind cannot accept the reality that you're living. And I was like, what's wrong in my reality? I have everything. I have a roof under, which I'm living. I have food to eat. I have everything. I have a great family. Why is this still happening? Why is there so much of emptiness within me? And then I understood because I didn't have a goal or a purpose in life to chase. I was just feeling like I am nowhere. I was like a headless chicken, going all over the place and returning to a place where I didn't have a belonging at all. And my friend, who's a very big spiritual healer, he could look into my eyes and say that, you don't have a home where you can think that, yeah, you
This is
can
my
call
safe
it home.
space.
Like you don't feel your family is also home. And he could see that, and he then told me that you have to really start meditating and be grateful for all the things that you have. Because I used to always think that, okay, like I told you, I came from a village, right? And I always had bigger ambitions, but I couldn't meet it always because
Yeah.
of the distance and city difference. So I would not be grateful for whatever I had. I would be like, why am I not like this? Why has
Always
God not
looking for
given
more.
me?
Yeah.
And because lockdown then happened, I was like, itna sab kuch karke bhi I'm back to square one. What is the use of it? So then I started doing meditation every day. I still do. And then in that you realize, okay, what you have. And I then started visiting different shelters of people where, they don't have eyes, or they cannot hear, or they cannot walk. Just started talking to them because that was suggested to me. And then I was like, oh my God, at least I have the basic needs of a human being. What am I really sad for? There are so many things that people are facing through, and look how happy they are. Why can I be like that?
Yeah.
And then that's how I just changed my mindset. But I would just not feel like waking up every day, Even though I was awake, I would feel dead inside. I would always be under the blanket. My mom would call me to give food. She would make such nice delicacies, but I would be like, no, I don't feel like having it all. So ye sab, I don't think so they even know that I was going through this, because I kept it to myself. I didn't tell it to anybody, and I'm not somebody who will show it on the face. Like on now also, on some bad days, people will be like, you're so happy, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying it's a bad day? Only I will know what I'm going through. So being through that, and I feel like it's open, it's very much like it's important to speak about all of this, because people see my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and they think I have it all, and I've had it all before also. But that's not true. Like, you have to go through a lot of sadness and emptiness to really bring out the best in you, because it's not like you're born with the best in the world.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
materialistically, but in terms of being the best in what you
Yeah.
do. You have to
Yeah.
really grill yourself to be the best, and that of course comes with a cost, and that cost is this emptiness and the loneliness that you have to face.
Yeah.
So that's why it's said, no, that people at the top are very lonely, but you have to go through that to achieve
Yeah.
something. So now also, if I feel that, I'm like, okay, the cost will pay off someday. But that time I was young, so I didn't understand. So I would complain instead of being grateful. But now, thankfully, I'm grateful for whatever happens.
That's true. That's true. Makes me very, very emotional. Have been through something very, very similar. So I completely get where you're coming from. And yeah, most of the things I feel like if it's got to do with your mental stability, I feel like just being grateful really helps a lot. Really, really helps a lot. If you put that vibe out there that, everything is okay, will be okay, and I got it all. Like, it's very, very
Yeah.
important. I personally believe that, and I don't know if it works for everybody, but works for me for sure. Now, last and the most important topic that we are coming to is your entrepreneurship journey,
Yeah.
which is your podcast, Radically Yours. So, to start something at such a young age and have such big, powerful people on your platform speak about 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 crore businesses that they have built and how they have built it, to even be at that age and understand what they are saying is big, let me tell you. Because I was at that age 5 years ago and I know I didn't understand shit. Yeah, but today I'm in a different place. But looking at what you're doing, tell me, how does one get confident to have a founder or have investors or VCs that are backing like funds worth 1,000 CR, 2,000 CR on your show? Just speak about business to you and you confidently
Yeah.
reply back to them.
Earlier I was very like shit scared to talk to them. I would be like, shit, what do I ask? Abhi bula to liya hai, but I don't know what to ask. But I feel when I get into the interview, I go in a trance. I feel like I'm not myself. It just my curiosity takes over all the emotions of, fear or like that attitude that you have, no? कि अरे क्या सोचेंगे लोग गलत कुछ पूछ लिया तो.
yeah.
But I'm so curious. If I'm sitting with anybody, I just ask very normal, basic questions. It's not like, and people have told me that you need to up your content game. It's क्या है ये इतना कोई भी पूछ सकता है ये. But it's taken a lot of time, to brush it up and polish it. It's just like the first day you go to the gym, everything will look very hard. But if you keep doing it every day, it'll become a habit, and one day you'll feel like it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
So now it's become like that. And honestly, if you see my past interviews, the production was so bad. We used to like shoot on iPhones, and I remember we did an interview with Radhika Gupta. She's very big name, like the Edelweiss Mutual Fund CEO.
Yeah.
And we just went with like some China का Bluetooth mic which was so cheap, and उसमें आवाज़ भी ठीक से नहीं आता है. एकदम phones लगा के interview किया था हमने, and I was like shit. अभी मैं देखती हूँ तो क्वालिटी इतना ख़राब है. आई फील लाइक नाउ दैट वी हैव अ नाइस सेटअप, आई विश आई कुड गेट हर नाउ, बट आई फील लाइक दैट ऑल इज़ अ लर्निंग प्रोसेस. एंड वो
Yeah, of
हुआ,
course.
अच्छी बात है वो हुआ, बिकॉज आई कुड नाउ अप्रिशिएट द वैल्यू ऑफ दीज थिंग्स दैट आई हैव नाउ.
Yeah.
बिकॉज तभी वो था नहीं तो लगता था कि अरे ये चाहिए सेटअप, बट अभी है तो आई एम लाइक वाओ कि कितना कुछ मिल गया है. एंड आई फील like you said about confidence, it only comes with time.
Yeah.
It cannot come ऐसे overnight, even though if the world validates it for you, it cannot come, because it's something that comes from really deep inside, from your soul, I would say.
Yeah.
And you feel, some people who are just like 3-4 years of age, they speak so fluently and confidently. How is that? It's because of their soul memory. I really believe in all of that. And I interviewed this lady, Devi Chitralekha. She's a very big spiritual leader and an orator. She's just 27, by the way, and the world knows her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's almost like Sadhguru. So at that level. And she told me she started preaching Bhagavad Gita just at the age of 6. She told me she didn't even read Bhagavad Gita. It came to her naturally, and she just had a guru who used to tell her about these things. अभी 6 साल का बच्चा कैसे याद रख के बोल सकता है if her soul didn't remember all of that.
Yeah.
And her guru has told her that, in the past life you were a big devotee of Krishna, and that's why Krishna has sent you in this life again to tell people about his learnings and lessons, and that's why you're able to speak so fluently now. So I really think it comes a lot from your karma, past things, and all of those things. People really undervalue all of this. मतलब जो है spirituality में वो लोग को तो समझता है ये सब, पर जो नहीं है उनको पागल लगूंगी मैं फिलहाल जो भी सुन रहे हैं. But I really think कि ऐसा है, and I feel like in the past life I would have done something to have this confidence. I really don't think it's all a matter of this life. I think.
Oh, really? You think it's something from the past life?
Yeah, I think so, because everybody asks me, how can you just go and speak up to a minister like that? So sometimes I gate crash events also just to speak to someone. And I'll tell you one instance. I got this minister, Aditi Tatkare. She's the Minister of Women and Child Development of Maharashtra in the cabinet. And I got her because I gate crashed an event where she was getting an award. and she was just like leaving from there. So many people were surrounding her, and I just said, excuse me, it's very urgent, you have to come on my show. It's on women leaders, and you don't know what kind of people will it reach to. It'll be different, let me tell you that. I cannot speak much because you're surrounded by people, but you give me your PA's number and let's make it happen, and you'll see the magic. And she was just impressed by the way I spoke, and then the interview happened. So I do take chances in my life, and I really don't care about the circumstance. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but more
it's
so it's
okay.
all about the mindset at which you look at.
And it's also a learning curve, I feel.
Yeah. I really like to like gate crash a lot of things, and people look down upon that, but that's okay. So many people tell me that why are you reaching out to so many, because there are mutual friends na.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, अरे she's reached out to me also, इसने
Oh.
मेरे को भी लिखा है ये वो, you know. So that gossip thing happens, but people who are generally very much determined in life to do something, they will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Only other people.
I believe in shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Always. Always. Shoot that shot. Even if you can't see where, how, what.
Exactly, just shoot in the dark.
Yeah, just shoot it and move on.
Yeah,
like,
I'll just tell you yesterday what happened. I'd gone for a meeting in Nariman Point at this Jolly Makers Chambers. And then I was like, I want to meet more people here, but I don't have an appointment. How do I do it? So I was just walking through the lanes of different floors, and suddenly I come across a very beautiful office, and I was just peeping outside, and they called me inside. They're like, yeah, what do you want? And I said that I read that you're a healthcare company in nutraceuticals. I want to know what you're building. I have a podcast. Do you have your founder here? I would love to speak. And the founder was a 70-year-old man, legendary doctor in homeopathy.
oh.
And then he gave me time. He's like, you came at my door, so I'm sure you would be having some conviction to even take that step. Please sit and tell me what do you do and what do you want from me. And he's launching nutraceuticals which cures heartbreaks. Can you believe it? What? Yeah. He's like, the enzymes that are produced in your mind because of the fact that when you're sad, those enzymes can be, shut down if you have those kind of nutraceuticals. It's all like science, right?
There is
So-
a medicine for heartbreak. Are you
Yeah.
trying to tell me?
Yeah, he's launching it. And he showed me all of that.
My best friend needs it. My best friend needs like 2 boxes.
Yeah, I'm marketing him for free. I'm meeting him tomorrow again, so I'm going to tell him कि
Yeah,
आपका
yeah.
market किया है मैंने, you better give me something in
Yeah,
return.
yeah, for sure, for
So
sure.
now he's gonna be a potential client of me for my LinkedIn business. So I also manage profiles of people on LinkedIn because I get a lot of demand that you write well. Can you write for us also? Manage our profiles. So now because I randomly went to him, he could be my potential client for business. Can you imagine?
Absolutely.
So I
absolutely.
really believe in doing all of this in life. I feel life is magical only if you let it happen to you. If you sit in your own room and do your own normal routine course, तो फिर तो क्या ही नया होगा life में. It'll only happen as expected. And I really want to have magical life, so I keep doing all of this.
Just listening to you speak, I don't know why, but like again and again is taking me back to my early days. I was not as open as you, but a little bit there, a little bit. Like I was really, really shy, and I did not have like a speaking issue or anything, but I was just a shy introvert kid, you know that one who's like fairly average in almost everything, good average to decent in almost everything, but not like excelling in like absolutely anything. So I was that kind of a kid, very shy, and
Yeah.
I was very, very introvert. But when I started working, boy oh boy, oh my god, I have been abused by a 70-year-old, by a 60-year-old.
Oh my God.
Walked into retail stores, been all over India with like suitcases and stuff like that. Just walked in and be like, look at my stuff and all of that. Done door-to-door selling with like a big suitcase. Like literally, people would call me that वो lady आई है bag के साथ आती है ना, वो लड़की वो bag के साथ आई है. So
Yeah.
I was that lady who would walk in with a bag, just like how you would gate crash.
Yeah.
I would gate crash like shopkeepers and be like,
It's needed. I feel
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, you have to do it. You have to
be
embrace.
shameless, yaar.
Yeah, you have to embrace the embarrassing moments.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
you grow.
For me, there's nothing called embarrassing
Yeah.
anymore. I have left that term long back.
Exactly.
Nobody and nothing can embarrass me. It's either truth or it's false. Like I
Yeah.
don't look at it as any other way. Like if you're saying the truth and I'm embarrassed, it's fine. Like and if you're false and again I'm embarrassed, it's fine. Like for me, I've left that feeling of, because embarrassment makes you lose a lot in life. Just that's that one fucking
Yeah.
feeling that every time the fear of just feeling embarrassed pulls you out. Just notice, like, I mean, not won't work for you because you're very evolved, but but I'm just talking about like normal people. They would not do 10 may say, like, I was so stupid. I would not tell my auto guy to take a left because I was embarrassed.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, it was that bad. And I'm pretty sure anybody who's listening can relate. A lot of times we step back in our life just because we don't want to have that embarrassing moment. But I think with age we have all learned how to
Yeah,
walk
yeah,
past
yeah.
it.
We
I
all
have a
do.
last question for you, Radhika, which is very, very deep. You might not expect this out of me.
No, I can expect it now that you're talking to me, so I can expect it.
Just listening to your entire conversation, I feel like there's a lot of your personality. A lot of your personality has also got to do with spirituality. And I would love for you to share. I am slightly spiritual, not very, I will say, but I am. I would like to, but I do believe that people now and the younger generation kind of does not embrace spirituality at all. So coming from somebody like you who's at the very similar age level as them, I would love for you to tell the audience, and the audience is young, so I would love for you to tell the audience as to what part of spirituality do they embrace and how do they go about it. Because for a lot of people, why they do not embrace spirituality is because they think it's impractical and illogical, right? Like, as you must have heard the basic, like, have not seen God, don't believe him,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So just coming from somebody who's similar to their age as of now, they would be able to relate a lot more to you.
Yeah.
What do you think about spirituality? And if one your age has to embrace it, how do they do it?
Yeah. I feel the connotation of spirituality is understood in very different and wrong ways than what it is. That's why people are running away from it.
Probably.
The moment you know what it really is, I think you would want to embrace it. For me also, the reason why I got into it was because when I visited ISKCON and understood more about God and what Krishna really means, they told me that Krishna is nothing but your own subconscious and your own inner world. If you tap into that and look within yourself rather than just looking outside of what people are doing, you will find the answers all by yourself. Like, you don't even have to go to temples, pray, and then get the answer. You can just sit at one place and really go deep inside yourself, thank yourself for whoever you are, and like try to talk to yourself. And I feel like everything will just manifest into whatever you want. But people think if spirituality is all about going to bhajan kirtans and
Puja.
doing all of that. तो इसके लिए उनको मन नहीं लगता है उसमें.
That's religion for anybody. That's
Yeah, but people are confusing religion with spirituality these days,
Yeah,
especially the
yeah.
younger crowd. But I think
Yeah.
the awareness is growing a lot more with social media now.
fairly, yeah.
So I really think that it's just about tapping your own thoughts rather than getting carried away by the thoughts of the world. And when you do that, you will discover a part of yourself that you would be shocked to know that it even existed. Because I feel that human life is so precious. I mean, imagine we have a brain to think. How many species in our animal kingdom have that kind of consciousness? Other animals don't even know. They are instinctive and reactive. We are responsive beings, and we have this gift by nature that, okay, we can take our time to think and act on what we want. Not
Yeah.
many people have that privilege and freedom to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like we are an ocean within ourselves, and if we do not discover that, it's not going to give you any result. It's just like scuba diving, you know. The more deeper you go in the ocean, the more you discover the beauty of it. It's similar to that. The more you deeply go within yourself, you'll discover the beauty of what you truly are. And because we are so distracted by everything that is there in our surroundings, we forget to give time to ourselves. It's not like you have to sit 24 hours with yourself to know the answer.
Yeah.
Even if you just sit for 15 minutes, you will exactly know how your day should be and what should you expect in your life. Let you yourself lead your life rather than life just happening to you, you know. A lot of people are just like moving by routines, calendars, schedules. That's good for business, but business is not life, and life
Yeah.
is not business. It's more than that. What will you do at 80 or 90, like on your deathbed, for example? If you are, you'll be like, yeah, okay, I've achieved this, that, but have you achieved the soul fulfillment that you were initially here for in life? Not many people will say yes to that. They will just say, yeah, I've earned a lot, but they've not earned the respect of their own soul to their own self. They would be saying that we've lost ourselves in the process of getting whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important
That's
to
most of
not
the
getting
people.
lost and being there for yourself at the times when you need it the most, because nobody will be there, everybody will be gone. I mean, you've come in your life alone, you'll die alone, and it's very important to realize that.
Yeah.
We get attached very easily
Yeah.
to everything in this world, even our family, friends, business, whatever. But detachment is
Key.
very important, very important.
Yeah.
You cannot get attached. Attachment is the biggest emotion. And I was reading this poetic line the other day only, that life is all good until you fall in love with someone else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because once you're caught in the emotion of love, that too with someone else, you are
Game
you're
over.
giving them the key to destroy you completely, and you should be aware of that fact.
Yeah.
Don't later on tell me ye kaise hua. You should be aware of the fact ki ye hoga.
Yeah.
Because you cannot control anybody else but yourself, and it's very important hence to love yourself more than anybody else. You know, all of these things are very societal. The relationship of marriage, family, brother, sister, but the relationship with yourself has to be the strongest, because when
Yeah.
everything else falls apart, you should be intact. You should not fall apart.
I believe
So that's
that.
the
I
only
believe
thing I
that.
would love to say.
I believe that, and I feel like every word that you have said makes so much sense even to me as someone who's slightly older than you. I feel like you have understood the real meaning of spirituality. And for our audience that's watching, if you want to learn how to be confident, I feel like this is the episode and this is the right one, because here we have a 26-year-old who speaks like a 40-year-old and has the brains of a 60-year-old.
Oh my god.
So that's a lot of evolving, and